All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Live SEO Support with your favorite SEO, Chris Gegis, and his trusty sidekick, Nicholas Esquire
Just in case there's any
Altamore the
confusion,
third.
Chris is 100% my sidekick,
We know who
okay?
the sidekicks are, and he likes to wear tights and speedos as well. So
I do.
he
That's
he was
that
supposed to
part.
wear it for the show today, but he didn't. So might have to. I don't know. We'll see what we'll have to do something about that for next week, guys. But yeah, welcome back. Yeah, kind of crazy times in the world right now, for real. If COVID wasn't already bad enough for a lot of people, now we got the Russia-Ukraine stuff, and even the SEO world, a lot of there's been a lot of like tech jobs and writers and whatnot out in Ukraine and stuff. So yeah, hopefully if you're anywhere out there, you're staying safe, your family's safe. Hopefully if you have any employees that are out there, they're staying safe as well. Just yeah, hopefully this stuff doesn't last too long. But yeah, be safe, all that good stuff. Um, yeah, you guys know the drill. If you got any questions, go ahead and ask them, and we will get to them as far as which ones came in first. And we got a little bit of a backlog here of questions we need to get to that we haven't quite got to yet. But if you're asking live, we'll definitely give you priority. Um, all right, so yeah, we'll go ahead and just jump into it, I guess.
Sorry, guys. I'm on mute. I'm noise managing right now. I've got Caspian here screaming up a storm. So, yeah, apologize if I seem quiet.
Said school starts for him next week.
Yes. Yeah, we had to be on a wait list. Things are booked up around here.
Kids gotta learn. All right. So yeah, how many links does it take to get a DR of 30? Uh, yeah, that's not really something I don't think anyone knows that really.
Plus, it would depend on mainly the variable of how powerful the domains linking to you are, right?
Yeah.
So, they're not all created equal, so that's not going to flow the same way as like a small domain from a big domain.
Yeah, so as far as raising your authority, of course, that is backlinks. But yeah, like Nick was saying, the quality of the backlinks really matters. So, will you ever get to a DR30 if you're building a ton of like DR1 automated spam links? I don't know. Have you ever tried something like that, Nick? Like, can you get to like a higher DR just with spamming out like very low DR links?
I don't think so, no.
I
It's
don't think
easier to
so either.
manipulate DA versus DR.
Gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, in general, just the quality of the links are going to play into that a lot. And yeah, so the best thing to do would just be to go hop on Ahrefs. I guess we could maybe do this. Um, or actually, let's see if we can turn Mozbar on real quick. Haven't used this in a hot minute. Give me 1 second, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this plugin called Mozbar. Um, and I'm going to use it to look at the SERP and just see like how many. That's also DA, so yeah, just let me log into this thing real quick. Um,
And I mean, even when you just think about it, like if you see an Ahrefs, something with a ton of Web 2.0 spam, etc., typically the DR isn't going to go exponentially higher due to it having that, which, that's just like one example of how you can't manipulate it as easily as you can DA.
so what I'm doing over here is so there's a Chrome extension called Mozbar, and I just turned it on, and I just searched for dog toys, and now I'm just scrolling down and I'm looking, it tells you the DA. So it's not DR, but we're looking at DA here. You could do the same thing with like Ahrefs. They have an add-on as well. But what I was going to say is basically the way to figure this out, how many links do you need to get a DR30 is just go find some DR30 sites and just take an average of how many links they have and say, okay, that's about ballpark where I'll need to be. Let's see, DA67, DA58. So yeah, what's another keyword I can do? Dog toys for Chihuahuas. I don't know. 78, 56. Here we got a 28 right here. So this DA28 site, so it's not DR, but DA28, they got about 16 links. DA27 says they got 0. Obviously, those aren't right. Let's go ahead and pop these in the Ahrefs real quick and just see if we can get a quick approximation. So this looks like this first one has got, it's a DR of 29, and it's got about 2,000 referring domains. So a little bit off from what Moz was telling us. Or what was Moz telling us on this one? Oh, I guess this is telling us the amount of links that the actual URL has, just that page. Okay. Let's look up the next one. So this next one has a DR of 17 and has 2.5 thousand referring domains, which is also quite high for kind of a low DR. Let's do one more. This one's got a DR of 26 with only 430 referring domains, right? So this one right here, what is this one? Barksercise. So this one's saying a DA of 24, DR of 26. So they're about the same as far as their ratings go. But yeah, I mean, so these two right here had like almost like 2,000 to 3,000 referring domains, right? With actually a lower DR than this one right here, which only had 430 referring domains. So, like Nick was saying, it's just going to really depend highly on the quality of backlinks that you have. I'd say that seems about right for about a DA or a DR of 25 to 30, having about 400 referring domains. What do you think about that, Nick? Is Nick even there? Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, that sounds fine. I mean, again, the variable is going to
Yeah,
be
just
how
ballpark.
powerful are those. Yeah, but if you've got 400 small domains versus 400 large domains, the DR is going to be vastly different,
We'll just
right?
say like the way that we normally
So
build links, like your link building style, the links that that you
yeah,
build, would you say that's about right? Around 400, maybe a little
yeah,
less?
it looks healthy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What I will say though is that the first two sites that had referring domains of 2,000, 2,500, and they only had like a DR of 15, a DR of 20, that right there is just it's not a red flag, but the first thing that I instantly think is, okay, these sites have a lot of really bad, just not good links. It doesn't mean that the links aren't like doing work for them. It doesn't mean they need to disavow them. It just means they have a lot of links that aren't very good at all.
Yeah, it can be directories, Web 2.0s,
Yeah,
all that kind of
they
stuff.
could have
It
just
just
got hit
doesn't
with a
add
bunch of
up.
spam. Like everyone get hits with a Web 2.0 spam, and that's a lot of times what it is. If you go in and you just click on the button in Ahrefs that says no subdomains or whatever, when you're looking at it, it'll like axe like half of them off, or a lot of times like 75% of their links just disappear. So, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. No real answer. Just kind of look around and see what other sites got. Let's see. Let me turn off Mozbar because I don't want to make sure it doesn't mess up anything. So hard to turn off. Okay, I think it's finally off. All right. Let's see what's next. All right. Are unlinked brand mentions good for SEO? What do you think about that, Nick?
I think I've got a cry baby right here.
Okay, I'll talk about it. Um, so short answer, I would say yes. Uh, but I don't think you can really think about it in the same way as you would think about something like a backlink or or even like adding content to your site. I would kind of put this on the category of it's good for you, but not as in a way of like really it's going to really like push your rankings. Like yeah, like when we think about like content um, or yeah, backlinks. And the reason I say that is because I think it helps Google basically when Google's out there and it's learning about whatever the topic is. If your topic is dog toys, like we were just looking at before, and they keep seeing your brand name associated with dog toys, I think it kind of helps Google to basically just understand that your brand is related to dog toys, right? They're not endorsing you. They're not saying these guys have great dog toys or these guys have great dog toy reviews or whatever. They're not endorsing your content, but Google kind of sees you being related with that topic, and I think it can kind of indirectly just help Google know that you're associated with it. Kind of maybe build some relevance to your brand. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't put it up there with something like backlinks or content. I'll also say that as far as like if I see brand mentions, the first thing I think about of is right? That's what we do. We're very backlink focused, right? So if we see unlinked brand mentions, that's worth reaching out to somebody. That you have an entry point already. Hey, saw your article about it where you mentioned us, blah blah blah. Yeah, just ask about basically if they want to link to your site, and yeah, it's just a good opportunity right there. Um, what do you think, Nick? You still got baby crying problems, or you got anything to add, or?
Yeah, you're still trying. Did you say that you think it does help SEO?
So I said it definitely does not help. I don't think it helps in the way of something like a backlink or content does, not anywhere close. But I think it can be like indirectly good as Google basically sees your brand name being associated with the niche that you're in, your topic or whatever. So I think it kind of maybe like indirectly kind of builds some relevance towards your brand or whatever, or just Google's understanding of your brand being associated with that topic. Like for example, like our brand name is associated with some of the products that we sell. A lot of probably has to do with people like actually searching for our brand name and the product and stuff like that. But I think it probably in general could probably contribute to something like that. But yeah, definitely not the same as like a really like pushing your rankings or like backlinks or something like that.
Yeah, I would probably say, and sorry for the background noise, but I'll try and be quick. That it's mainly so looking at it from that standpoint, I would say it's gonna depend a lot on what your brand name is. Because if it's something like
Best dog
plumber,
toys. Yeah.
yeah, best dog
If it's like
toys. I mean, like
EMD.
I don't think that's gonna really resonate
Yeah, true.
from an SEO
If
perspective
it's a
versus if
unique
it's
brand
like,
name, Sir links a
yeah,
lot.
unique brand name that nobody else shares. That's like on the scale of like a keyword density list that these
Yeah.
crawlers are compiling, then maybe to some degree, if you're like widely found across the internet and it's a very unique term
Hmm.
or brand name, then maybe it'd have some influence. I wouldn't put too much weight on it, to be honest with
Yeah,
you. It's like the person bringing this question to us, I, I'd probably just tell you just not not to worry about that too much. But like Chris said, what I did hear you say that I would say go after is hit those people up and see if you can't get a backlink put up in there.
for sure.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. Your brand name would need to be unique. Like it couldn't be like an EMD, like best dog toys, because those are just words that people will automatically will use very often when writing about your content or writing content related to that topic. But yeah, if you have a brand name, very unique, Sir links a lot. It's just a completely like new word that only is really your brand or whatever.
yeah, like
Um,
An
and maybe can
example that
build
comes to
something.
mind, I guess, is like roofing, right? So GAF is a big roofing. It's associated with roofing somehow. I don't even really know,
Hmm.
legislation or some shit like that. But anyhow, that's a very unique name. I'm sure it gets mentioned in articles. I'm sure it helps build relevance to these crawlers that are, compiling that, set of keywords associated with all things roofing. And if it's pretty high up on that list, yeah, it probably will increase the amount of value held in the SERPs for that particular brand.
Cool.
But then it begs the question, it's like, well, couldn't people piggyback off that then? And I guess to a certain degree they do, but then they'd be changing their keyword up. So they'd be like gaff roofers or something like that.com, right? But yeah, that's getting a little bit further with it.
All right. Can we use H1 more than one time in our articles? Yeah, absolutely you can. I wouldn't advise it. But I don't think it's really the end of the world either. But, just with this kind of stuff, our advice is always the same. These are what you're entering on is like these kind of like foundations that SEO best practices are built on, like things that have just been kind of like set in stone for a very long time. And it really just goes to the basic fundamentals of when Google is looking at your website and they're trying to determine what this page or, yeah, what that exact page is about. Uh, your H tags really come into play there because that is how the page is organized. Your H1 is generally, you can think about it as kind of like the title or the subject of the entire page, right? And then everything after that, it's broken down. The H2s would be the categories that are under that. Each H2 could then feed into H3s. Um, so, having more than one H1, I don't think it's going to break your website or whatever, but it's not something I would do. There's no reason to mess around with something that basically if it's not broke, don't fix it. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel with this kind of stuff. There's plenty of things you can do to differentiate yourself as far as doing your SEO, and your link building or the content itself, how well you're actually covering the topic, rather than doing something like trying to, do more than one H1 because you think if you do more than one H1 and you have your keywords in all the H1s, then Google's really going to like that. And that's just not the way it works. They're using these things to really understand what your page is about. And if anything, I would just say it would confuse them rather than help you out at all. But yeah, also probably won't break your site or anything. So
Yeah,
anything to
it's
add?
just about, keeping things clean for the crawlers, right?
Yeah,
So you're going to inject a bunch of relevance into your permalinks. You're going to inject a bunch of relevance into your H1. If you got multiple H1s within a page, then it's saying something to these crawlers, right? That there's more than one important topic being talked about, or at least, two topics that are paramount to the topic of the page. When you're reading a novel, typically each chapter is just going to have one H1 essentially, right? If you think about it in those kind of terms. So just simpler to digest for the crawlers, simpler to digest for really just the onlooker or the reader too.
for sure. Um, hey, Surrender Ready. We are here. How are you? All right, let's keep going. Yeah, remember, guys, if you're watching live, go and drop your questions in the chat and we will get to them.
Oh, just a quick injection here. The post just went live, so congrats to Chad for winning Member of the Month last month. We give out a $200 prize to one member every month, and this one went to Chad. So congratulations.
Yeah, if you're not aware, if you're in our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable, we have a Member of the Month prize where it's awarded to basically the person who's the most active in the group, who helps answer people's questions, basically just contributing to the group being a nice place to learn and share stuff, right? So yeah, we give one out every month, and yeah, it looks like Chad won this month. Congrats, Chad.
Don't
Um,
forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the show and all of that.
and yeah, head over to our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. We know a lot of people like to watch on YouTube. I feel like YouTube's bigger for the live stream, but yeah, Facebook group is definitely like the everyday place to be. Definitely a lot more going on in there rather than the weekly live stream. All right, so what did we have next? Okay. Um, Regarding backlinks, when you secure one and it's definitely live, do you just wait however long it takes to get found? And do you track it all with SEMrush or Ahrefs or wait to see it appear in Google Search Console? Um, so this sounds like me when I first started building links. I was very concerned when I first started building links. I was very concerned, like, well, why isn't it in Ahrefs? Why isn't the ranking going up yet? Or why is it not in Ahrefs? Why doesn't it know about this link? And how long is it going to take to show up? And blah blah blah. Um, so when I secure a backlink, I don't check anything other than that the article is there and that the article gets indexed. It's going to show up in Ahrefs if it's unless it's something like a pillow link or something like a citation or directory or just something like that. But if it's like a niche editor, a guest post, an editorial link, something like that, it's going to show up in Ahrefs. It's going to show up in SEMrush. It's going to show up in Search Console most likely. And there's no point in you really worrying yourself about checking those things. So I make sure that the link is there, it's on the website, it's there, and that the website of course is indexed, and that article will eventually get indexed. If it's a guest post, that article depends on the guest post site, like how long it's going to take to index. And if it's a niche edit, it should already be indexed because it's existing content and whatever. Yeah, I don't check anything. There's nothing you really need to check. You just keep moving forward with what works, which is keep working on your content, keep working on your website, keep building more backlinks. There's nothing really for you to monitor there as far as the backlink goes once it's been built. Of course, you don't want it to like disappear or something, but yeah, you don't need to worry about really looking at it in tools or anything. And even when the tools do pick it up, that it doesn't necessarily correspond to your rankings because the tools might pick it up before it has any effect on your rankings. So the tools might pick it up way after it's had an effect on your rankings. So it's just kind of all disconnected, and I just don't really put too much importance on it showing up in any kind of tool or monitoring it in that kind of way. Do you have anything to add, Nick?
No, that's pretty straightforward. At this point, I don't check anything. I just check that the links go live once I, want them or get them, and then I don't even check indexation or anything anymore. Which, isn't to say
Yeah.
that that's what you should do. It's just over the years, you'll find a rhythm, and like Chris said, you'll kind of just,
It's just that we're very
hit your own check
loosey-goosey about
marks.
our own stuff now.
Yeah, when I had a lower budget and
You know,
was more stressed
well,
out whether things
I just
would
want to
work or
clarify real
not,
quick.
then maybe I was checking quite a bit more. But
Just to
yeah,
clarify with the links that we sell, of course we're not checking to see is it in Ahrefs, but we're definitely checking to make sure it's like indexed and all that stuff. But with our own stuff, it's something that we're just like, yeah, whatever. Let's go.
yeah, for sure.
All right, so sorry to interrupt you there. Do you have anything else to add on that?
No, I think that's about it.
All right, cool. Um, got one from
Or well, I
YouTube.
guess just real quick, don't concern yourself with whether a link shows up in SEMrush, Ahrefs. GSC is a good indicator that it's indexed and that, Google gives it weight, but Ahrefs and SEMrush, it's just really so you can go through your backlink profile and feel secure about what you see there. But as far as rankings go, it simply doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like that's we actually get this question quite often, or our customer service does. Why isn't when's the backlink going to be in Ahrefs? Like, I don't know. Yeah, like, Ahrefs is its own crawler. But why do you care if it's in Ahrefs? Like, that doesn't mean anything, really. I mean, in
Maybe
general,
it's so they can
you,
give reports out to clients or something. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not really sure, but actually, you do want it to show if it's like a guest post or a niche editorial link, you do want it to show up in Ahrefs over time. But as far as when Ahrefs is going to add it, no one knows what's going to happen. They have their own crawlers that are completely independent from Google. That they're essentially doing what Google is doing and is crawling the entire internet, looking at all these backlinks and how everything's connected, and then adding it to an index. So Ahrefs has like their own complete thing going on, and Google has their own thing going on. The important thing is that Google knows about it, right?
Yeah, one is vastly larger.
Now, what Google's a lot. Google systems are much more advanced than Ahrefs, and Google is the one who you want to see the link, of course. So you want Ahrefs to see it eventually, just because they should see it if it's not a pillow link, if it's just a quality link. But yeah, I mean, Google's the one you want to worry about here. So make sure that the site's indexed, that the page gets indexed, and that means they see it. All right. So I am a beginner. I have one question, guys. If I set up Pbn, can I go with new domains? So first of all, I'm just gonna say, if you're a beginner, I would I don't want to tell you not to use PBNs. Actually, I do. I would say
Yeah, just
as a beginner, it's not, we don't advise you to start messing with PBNs as a beginner. But actually one of the first, when I first got into SEO, and I think you might have been pretty similar, Nick, is PBNs were one of the things that really attracted me to SEO, because it was like this, it was this thing you could do to get a massive advantage, for in a lot of cases for a much cheaper price, right? They were just this super powerful tool. But there's a lot that goes into it, There's they're complicated, and you can, if you don't know what you're doing, you can definitely get yourself into some trouble. Um, so I'm kind of conflicted as to say if he should mess with them or not as a beginner. I guess we can't tell him not
I
to,
mean, I would
because
say this. I got my start exclusively almost in PBNs,
yeah.
and they taught me a lot about designing websites, managing my kind of nerves when it came to SEO, and especially using kind of black hat techniques, because they left you very unsure. But that's not to say that that is a good starting point, right? Very iffy. But also, I don't quite get this question, if I'm being
Well,
honest.
so the second part of the question is if I set up a PBN, can I go with new domains? Um, so I guess there's two ways you could look at this. Is the PBN site that you're building links from, is that a new domain, or is the site that you're building the PBN links to a new domain? Um, for both of them, the answer is no. So if the PBN, so you cannot build a PBN site out of a new domain, because the whole point of a PBN website is that it's an old domain that has some backlinks already going to it, and you're basically harnessing those backlinks, and you are then going to link out to other websites, right? I mean, I guess you technically, so if you want to get technical, you could buy a new domain and build backlinks to it and then use it to link out to stuff, but that's kind of defeats the whole purpose of PBNs, which is to get these domains up at a good price, right? So these backlinks end up being heavily discounted. It'd be a lot more expensive to do it if you started with a new domain, then built backlinks to it, and then started linking to other sites from it like that. And then if it's the other way around, if you're saying, is my domain is new, can I build PBN links to it? We'd also just say, no, it's not best practice. It's going to depend on there's some niches where you
It's just not
can.
a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, we don't consider it best practice at all. Especially, you're saying you're a beginner. I would just say, no, stay away from it. We've actually got a video. Let me get this video for you real quick. I'll search on Facebook. So links a lot. New website. Here we go. Sorry, give me 1 second. See, I'll just go ahead and drop this in the chat for you. There you go. Yeah, so if you were asking, if your domain was new, just go ahead and watch that video. That'll give you just kind of best practices about building links to a new site, the type of links you should be building, and basically like what times you should be building it, stuff like that. But yeah, if you were just asking about if you can build a new domain into a PBN site, then nah, it just kind of defeats the purpose, right?
Yeah.
Anything else to add, Nick?
No, that sounds about right.
Okay. So he also says my money website is 5 years old. So yeah, if your money website is 5 years old, then it would, in general, you could say it's probably safe. You could start building some PBN links to it, but that
If
doesn't.
it has
If it yes,
backlinks going to it already, yeah.
because if a website is 5 years old, it generally already has some other back. If it's 5 years old and it doesn't have any backlinks, so you have like 0 RD or like 10 RD or something, then I would say no. Keep building other links before you start building PBN links to it.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I think a good rule of thumb is have like a solid 25 referring domains. And I mean solid domains, guest posts, niche edits, that kind of stuff, before you think about using a PBN. A PBN is used to kind of power certain things up in the SERPs, but they don't really work if they're not combined with the other right tool sets. Google knows the game that people are playing with these things.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, site's 5 years old. If it already has some other backlinks built to it and they're, decent backlinks, you could start building a PBN link every now and then. Don't go crazy with it. Especially as a beginner, you could definitely get yourself into some trouble. We see it happen all the time. So, don't think that you're necessarily unique and that you won't be able to, that you'll be able to just start building a ton of PBN backlinks and have massive ranking success and somehow beat the system. But yeah, like Nick was also saying before, it's also good to play around with this kind of stuff because it really kind of, when when you start messing with PBNs, you're really starting to mess with just the basics of like what backlinks are and what makes the backlink good and the types of websites they come from and all this stuff. And you just really have to look at things in a much more detailed kind of way. And I definitely think it can be a good learning experience if you understand that you got to take it slow and not go crazy with it and follow some best practices. It says this money website has 550 referring domains. Okay, so your website has a very good amount of backlinks already. So yeah, I could say you could definitely start building some PBN links. But also, again, is the site healthy? If you're trying to say, okay, I want to build PBN links now because my site is losing some rankings and I got to push them back up, no, don't do it. If the site is healthy and you kind of just want to give it a little extra push every here, to a couple pages or something, you could definitely do that. But yeah, just is the site healthy and are those 550 referring domains, are they a bunch of like spam stuff or are they actually decent links? Does it have a decent authority level, stuff like that? But if your site, if your site is growing, has good like positive keyword growth, good positive traffic growth, and they're not, something like it's not like extremely low levels or whatever, then you're probably okay to build a PBN here and there.
Every now and again.
Every now and then. That's what I was looking for.
She finally fell asleep, so we are in the clear. I can stay off mute.
Wow.
Yeah, he wants me to lay down with him on the couch. I'm 5 feet away from him, but if I'm not there, it's very hard to get him to sleep. He daddy's boy. That's okay.
Needy.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we've got about 15 minutes left. Okay. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question. If you got any more follow-ups, definitely let us know. How do you switch your WordPress website over to a new host?
Hmm.
Nick and I were actually just talking about this yesterday. I'll let you explain that, Nick.
There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. My favorite way is to just use a simple plugin to download a backup of your domain.
What plugin do you use?
I like all-in-one WP migration. Um, it'll work for free up to a certain size site, and then if your site's larger, you have to pay for it, but it gives you unlimited uses. So yeah, I really like that one. Of course, you could do things through cPanel, etc., using FTP or whatever. But yeah, anyhow, that's my favorite way to do it. So I would download a backup, then go to my new host. I would set up WordPress. I would then install that backup. Again, all you have to do is take WP, all-in-one WP migration, add that plugin to the new site. You would upload that backup that you just downloaded, and poof, there it would be. And then you can switch your name servers over, and you are good to go, seamless, flawless, up and live.
Yeah, just so you aren't, if you aren't aware, name servers are like an option you set in your actual, in like the hosting for your website. So, you'd pay for the new hosting, do the plugin stuff, get the site migrated over, and then once it's all over, then you go into your hosting and basically point it to, yeah, the new
Yeah,
name
for
servers.
anybody asking that question, I'm going to guess that you're probably not quite, into SEO yet, but you're kind of dipping your toes. I think WordPress is a great place for people to get started, whether that's creating a personal site and kind of toying with it, etc. You're going to learn a lot just by, kind of doing these maneuvers. And the beauty of WordPress is you don't have to get too crazy with the information. There's plenty of information on how to use WordPress. And unlike SEO, there doesn't seem to be countless BS gurus out there giving wrong information to try and sell whatever app. So yeah, WordPress is an easy place to navigate, easy place to start for novice SEOs
And
or
also
aspiring
and
SEOs.
also we also just recommend staying on WordPress.
If yeah, I even early on, I had a large amount of PBN set up. Um, on HTML, and yeah, all of that is gone now because it's just a nightmare to deal with that, and then you've got to get people that are a little bit more specialized in order to manage. WordPress is easy, it's intuitive, and there is a huge amount of people that can work on it for you as
I
well.
will say there's a lot of things about that are not intuitive. You find all these options that are tucked away in these
Sure.
little places, and when you first jump in, you're kind of just like, what the F? But it gets better. You just kind of learn where everything is, and yeah, then you don't have to worry about being on some platform that doesn't allow you to do something, or you have to do something weird to be able to do the kind of SEO that you want to do to the site.
Right.
Or yeah, maybe like functionality or whatever might not have some kind of plugin or whatever you want to use. But all right. Another question over on YouTube.
Hey, if you guys have sent me a friend request over the last couple of months, I apologize. It's not that I don't like you. It's that I've got a list of at least 200 people that I just I haven't gone through any of this stuff.
Let me
Sorry.
check mine real
Apologize.
quick. Is there a way to see how many you have that are unanswered or whatever?
Mine's showing 99 friend requests in this list right here, but I don't know if that's total.
Oof, I got 246 requests.
So it's not that we don't like you. It's that things have kind of just exponentially grown over the last year or two, and we got a lot of stuff to keep up with, but also a lot of stuff to do if we're going to keep Sir Link's a lot growing in unison with the newfound
I'll
following.
probably go
So
back and
we
add
appreciate
some of
everything.
these because there definitely looks like some
Yeah,
people in here
same.
with a good amount of like mutual friends and stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
just understand that we get bombarded just by just because our names are out there or whatever, that we just get bombarded by stuff. A lot of just people want to make some money. And a lot of it, is probably just like people selling links and stuff or whatever, but whatever. All right. Sorry, what were we doing? Oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah, guys, we got about 9 minutes left. So you got any questions, go ahead and pop them in there and we will get to you. Is there any time period between PBN 1, 2, 3, 4 giving link from PBN to the money website? So I guess he's asking, basically, should you like wait any amount of time between adding multiple PBN links to a website? In general, the more time, the better. Because just PBN, when it comes to backlinks, PBN links are basically one of the most unnatural types of backlinks you can get. They're coming from a home page, and the site itself, basically Google, they can understand that it's not exactly what every other link looks like, right? So the more time you put in between your PBN links, the better. But if you have ongoing link building campaigns and you are, adding all these other types of backlinks in or whatever, then it really doesn't matter as much because, they're just making up a small part of the bigger picture, right? Do you have like any kind of like PBN link velocity rules you play by, Nick, or even do you not really play by any rules since we use them pretty sparingly compared to the other stuff that we're doing now?
I mean, just the same, so let's go back to just how I'm setting things up, which is at the beginning of the month or whenever it is that, I'm putting in my backlinks order for that particular month or period. I'm going to have things kind of separated out so that they look naturally. I expect all my links to kind of come in staggered, right? And different kinds of links. I'm not just using PBNs any given month, but if I've got guest posts, niche edits, pillow links, and PBNs going, let's say I've got 5 PBNs coming out, just do it at random. You can drop 2 in a day, 3 in a day. A lot of it's going to depend on, the size of your money site and how many other links you've got going to it. But overall, longer trajectory for these to kind of drip out is going to be better. If you're uncertain about it, then make it extra long. Don't push the envelope if you haven't really played around with these variables. But factually, if you've got a good amount of backlinks coming in and you've been doing everything proper, the site's healthy, etc., you can drop 2 to 3 PBNs in a single day. And it'll be all right. But hypothetical best rule of thumb, if you're getting 5 links, strip them out over at least a week, just for the sake of creating a rule. There you go.
Yeah, there's no rule set in stone, but drip feed when possible. You can do multiple links on a day. It's not the end of the world or whatever. What you don't want to do is do a couple PBN links a day, like every day for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can just like do in little bursts.
Like,
you could theoretically build like 5 PBN links a month if you're doing other link building as well, and you could build all 5 PBN links like on one day. It'd be kind of weird because it'd be establishing a pattern or whatever. But
yeah.
But what I'm saying is you could, there's no set rule in stone. You're trying to be safe here. Best practice would be to just kind of to space them out a little bit. Yeah, I don't think we really have much more to say on that.
Let's talk about what a PBN is, right? It's a homepage contextual backlink. And how often do you think it is that a site naturally gets one of those? It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
And how often do you think they stay on the homepage? So also think about accumulation of PBN links, right? Over time, if you're doing 5 PBN links every month, then that can add up
That's
to,
a lot of PBN links.
50 PBN links in a year, making up even like, 10, 15% of your backlink profile, which doesn't really make sense because hypothetically, imagine normal sites that are linking out from the homepage to another money site or asset. it's typically not going to either stay there very long, or it's like a type of paid placement or something like that, right? Neither is typically gonna last, 6 months to a year. Now it could, but if you're accumulating a bunch of them, then over time it's going to create a red flag, because it's not natural,
Yeah.
unless you're getting like just an insane amount of backlinks. And so, like, if you want another made up number, keep it under 3%. Like,
I'm
there
just
you go.
laughing because we never
I
talk
mean,
about stuff like this,
people
but
talk about percentages all the time. They'll have really flowery, elaborate case studies on, the variables they prodded at, etc. But also, the landscape of SEO is changing all the time. And if you think these variables stand that test of time, it's utter BS. The main focus for me in my style of SEO is definitely just trying to emulate being natural, right? And I'll prod at that with very unnatural things. But if I'm being unnatural strategically, then it's going to be pretty hard to pinpoint that it is unnatural. And that happens in nature. So, there it
nature
is
and
for
natural.
super, super confusing organic nature talk.
Yeah, this is a weird answer. But yeah, best practice, just space them out a little bit, man. And don't go crazy with them. Don't build a ton of PBN links to your site. Just keep building your other stuff as well.
Yeah, consider this too. PBNs, even if you're not running your own PBN, building your own PBN, they're pretty expensive. And so if you're spending a bunch of money on building a PBN or buying PBN links, and you're not doing it, um, in a safe manner, then you're kind of compounding your ability to get screwed from a monetary standpoint, right? Because you're going to lose the PBN, which is a lot of money, or at least the backlinks that you paid for that were acquired through that PBN. It's all in all, you want to be more on the safe side when you're talking about playing with PBNs.
It's definitely something you kind of see, which is that, a lot of the times, a site's not doing as well as someone wants it to do. And because the site's not doing well, their budget isn't that great. And so then they're looking around at links and like, well, PBN links are powerful. And they're actually, if I just buy them or rent them, they're actually a lot cheaper than something like a quality guest post or a niche edit. So maybe I'll just do some of those. And like, you're just going to start like digging this hole for yourself where
Yeah.
your site's just going to end up getting like more unhealthy because, building PBN links doesn't make Google trust you. You got to do all the other stuff and then float a PBN link in there every now and time to give you a boost rather than, being like the driving force of your rankings. All right. Adrian, what's up, man? How you doing? And I
Hello.
think we're gonna go ahead and end it there. Looks like we're about out of
Yeah, that's
time.
right about it.
There's two pretty slow weeks in a row as far as stream goes. But
There's a
yeah,
lot going on in the world, huh?
for sure. We're normally kind of slow around this time of the year, but yeah, definitely a little bit slower the past week or two. Yeah, thanks,
And
guys.
like Chris was saying too, I mean, we know Ukraine is dealing with issues, and we've got a lot of, counterparts over there that we've, been involved with over the years in business and SEO. And then a lot of friends, in other places in the Middle East, etc. So just, if anything comes up and you guys have been dedicated to, Sir Links a lot over the years, and just reach out to us if there's anything we can help with, right?
Yes, and most importantly, stay safe. Um, yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully, we answer your questions, and we'll see you next time.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, bye.